Good day and welcome to Wednesday and this first segment of this week's A Week at the Plot. I have just been taking some posters off of our main gate as you come into the site. There was one for the local gardening club which meets again I think about May, but that had gone really faint. It had become really faint with the sunshine and the rain and all of that, so you couldn't really read it anymore, so down it came. And also our local charity, the one that owns this land, they have a toy drive each year just before Christmas, and that came to an end last week. So that poster, even though it was absolutely fine, is no longer valid because there are no drop-off points now because it's all closed. So I thought I'd take that down and take off all the other bits of plastic or twine that has been used to tie posters on. We much prefer that posters are tied on there, A, with our approval, and B, with twine, rather than using the plastic ties, because when a poster is attached, they often sort of nip it really close, the plastic tie bit, and basically it can't be reused. I've got a number of reusable black plastic ties, but the ones on there aren't. So I've got rid of those. Anything that's plastic has gone into my black bin in the shed, black sack, and anything that can be composted, i.e. the string, the natural twine, the natural string, that will go into my compost bin. So yeah. And as I came down, I noticed something. Can you see behind me? Can you see that behind me there? Let's have a closer look. I'm very excited by this. We have some germination in our everlasting peas. So look, there's a bit there. That's germinated. One there and one there. Nothing in this one over here as yet that I can see. But I'm really pleased that these have. You might remember when I sowed these a few months ago, I did say that look, there's another one there. It's 3. I did say that I wasn't sure that they would germinate, because some people have said that these everlasting peas, which are like a really lovely pink sweet pea, they don't, the seeds aren't viable. And I thought, well, why is a plant producing seeds if it's not viable? And I know that does actually happen, but I thought I would give them a go, and sure enough, we have germination. I'm very excited by that. Do they need any moisture? I think maybe they just need a little bit of water. I don't have any in the watering can. Let me go and get some. Right, that's them given a little bit of water. Gosh, I'm so happy about that. Let me show you something else that I'm pretty happy about too. Well, we do have some germination in our broad beans. But look, already that's been nibbled off. That one hasn't. There's some more germination there. Oh, and there. But how bloody annoying. Oh. Let me have a look elsewhere. As I was walking round, I looked at our iris, which were doing really pretty well, and then I noticed over here the daffodils are coming up, These are King Alfred daffodils. There seems to be quite a profusion of growth in there. That's either little ones that have grown, i.e. they've spread, or do I have something else in here as well as the King Alfred daffodils? Tulips. Well, tulips wouldn't be up yet, would they? Anyway, whatever we've got there, that's coming up as well as the daffodils. Hope they don't get eaten. Well, they do say that pride comes before a fall, and I have to say I was rather pleased with myself and with the broad bean seeds that when I came around to come to the shed, I could see through the netting that there was germination there. Little did I know that by the time I got in there and had a look at the germination, some of them would have been munched. I mean, obviously it didn't happen between the time I arrived and the time I looked. That, I think, is mice damage. It's mice coming in and munching the growing tip off. So that's really annoying. I mean, you know, so frustrating. A fellow plotter does actually now do his broad beans only in modules in his greenhouse, quite a cool greenhouse actually. Mainly it's in there for the protection, because he's found that all of his broad beans, whenever he direct sows them, they get munched by mice or they get taken over by slugs or snails. I do think that's mice rather than slugs thinking about it. I think if it had been slugs or snails, they'd all be munched a little bit more rather than nipped off. I'm not sure why mice do that. I don't understand it, but yeah, I think I will be doing, well, I know I'm going to be doing another sowing, most probably another direct sowing in a bed just up here, but that wasn't going to be until February. I think when we get into beginning of January, in a couple of weeks time, maybe 2 or 3 weeks time, I think I will do a sowing in modules in the poly or in the greenhouse as a backup to go into gaps should they develop. The thing with broad beans and with runner beans and quite a few sort of sturdy French beans is that despite being mown down by either frost or by creatures, they can germinate again. If that root system has developed well enough below ground, then in maybe 3 or 4 or 5 weeks time, there may be further growth coming up from that place where the top has been nibbled off. We will see. We saw that with the frostbitten ones last year and the year before. But you know, I was really hoping to get a decent amount of growth to get me a really early crop of broad beans. Look, the thing is, they haven't all been munched, so fingers crossed that they won't be. Anyway, there we are. Also, we were talking, no, I'll come on to that later in the week, because I think it's getting pretty dark and my camera on my phone doesn't pick up very well in this light. It goes quite grainy. So I think we'll chat more about slugs and vermiculite and perlite later in the week. But yeah, I'm pleased to have seen those daffodils. I'm pleased to see the germination in the broad beans, despite some of them being munched. And I'm very, very pleased to see those everlasting peas coming up. Oh, and look, there's a big rat. I was talking to somebody about rats a minute ago. There's quite a long rat, not a huge rat, but a long one. Anyway, there we are. See you again soon. Hopefully when there's a little bit more light. The thing is, between me doing this video and the other videos earlier, what was I saying? I don't know. Between me doing the videos. Did I say about what I did at the beginning? I'm not even sure I did that. Did I? Yes, I did. I was thinking about the gate stuff. I'm going to go. I'm losing my mind. See you again soon. Bye. Good day. I'm at home, as you can see, and I was just looking at our ivy the other day, and it's beginning to encroach on the path, as in fact is this plant here. But I'm more worried about the ivy, because the ivy, when it gets wet, it will just brush against people and make them wet. So I'm going to cut that back. And you can see here that we have got parking guidelines on our road, so people are allowed to park between these dotted lines, though actually this line, this solid line at the front of our property and next door's garage, means that people shouldn't park here. And in fact people have got parking tickets before then. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut back and get some of this ivy off, and there's also another job I want to do as well. Right, that's looking a little bit tidier. I will I'll get a brush and brush up the leaves shortly, but I've got another job to do yet. This Buddleia that we've got at our drive has died back, and in fact it was getting rather big anyway for our driveway, though it does impinge people going down here to our gate. But it's dead. It's not a sculptural piece of art, so I'm going to take it out. I'll do it in sections. Instead of cutting it right down here, I'll cut this down to maybe about here, and then maybe do this in 2 bits, and the same with that bit. But yeah, I'm just going to get on and do that. That job is now done. I've cut everything down as far as I can. That stump that's there, I will use a friend's small chainsaw in a couple of weeks' time. I know he's away at the moment. I'll use that in a few weeks' time and cut it further down to the ground. But you know what, that's a better job at least. And all of the wood on the left, I should have cut it up a bit smaller, because it's completely dry because it's dead, and we can use that on the fire. We're having a few fires over the coming weeks because we had the chimney swept last week, as you know. So yeah, because that is now bone dry and it won't give off any smoke, yeah, we could use it on the fire. I'll think about that. I'm in the back garden now, continuing work on the ivy on this pear tree. Much of this side is free. As you can see, this is the trunk here. This is ivy, this bit going up here. So I've been cutting it at certain points. You can see here, this bit here used to come down, so that's been cut off, so that will die off from up there. I put a big horizontal cut in there, a big horizontal cut in there, another one you can most probably see there, another one here, and I followed that through, or those through, mainly around this side as well. You might not be able to see so clearly. This bit, you can see that was ivy, which has come off this morning. That big chunk there has come off this morning. You can see how big the ivy is here. I mean, really, why did I let it get to this state? But I did. No point beating myself up. But what I'm hoping is that I can carry on doing this over the weekend and get a good deal of this weight off, like this. I might get a crowbar, because I can see here. Is it here or is it here? Oh, it's here. Can you see? You mostly can't because I'm moving with it. But that bit, if I get a crowbar, I could hook that out, which would let me saw deeper into the ivy. But yeah, note to self, never let ivy take hold. I just took my eye off the ball for several years, it has to be said. Anyway, I'm going to carry on doing this over the next couple of days, and I'll mostly see you at the plot tomorrow or Sunday, because it's Friday now. See you very soon. Bye. Good day. It's Saturday, rather blustery, but I'm down here. This is the plant that I cut back. Someone told me it was an Acca. I don't really know if it is pineapple guava or something. And I just thought, whilst I'd cut it back, I'd do a little bit of propagation and see if we get anything from it. And yes, I thought I'd come down here and do that. That's what I'm doing. And in here I've got a mixture. In the pots I've got a mixture of perlite and compost, and it's perlite. Last week I was talking about that big bag of vermiculite, and as I was talking about it, I was thinking, oh, there's something not quite right with this. And then I realised when I was, after I'd uploaded and I was getting comments in, it was actually perlite and not vermiculite. I bought it from a link I'd been sent, and the person who wanted it bought for them did say vermiculite, and I just sort of went along with it. And vermiculite is white, you can see, perlite is white, you can see this here. Vermiculite is like brown curls. So yeah, this is definitely not vermiculite, it's perlite. But I thought, as I cut these back the other day, I thought I might as well try some propagation, because they're rather sturdy. It's a rather sturdy plant, and it's pretty good for as a windbreak. The leaves stay on. It's pretty good for a windbreak, particularly with strong winds, which we're getting at the moment. So yeah, nothing ventured, nothing gained. As I've said several times before, I'm just ripping off the leaves. As you saw, I cut these fresh off the stem. I did actually cut the whole bits off yesterday, but I then popped these in a plastic bag. Ideally, you want to do cuttings the same day that you take them off the mother plant, if you like. But I was doing other things, and I thought, as I said, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I'm just making holes, you can see in the corner, popping them in, firming them down. What have we got? I've got enough for 12 here. Whether we'll have enough cuttings for 12, I'm not sure. This growth is from this year. Let me pop those over there. Pop that there. It does grow rather lovely. As I say, it's quite dense. It's quite good at the front of our house because it stops people being able to look in too much. So it's good from that, as well as a windbreak. It's good as a sort of privacy shield as well. Not that anything goes on in our front room that is of any real interest other than us watching Murder, She Wrote and things. I've got some more here, so I'm just going to carry on doing these. What else? Oh yes, we were talking about slugs and snails last week as well, and there were a few people agreeing that actually if you put cardboard down without putting compost on top, so you put cardboard down over the winter as a deterrent from weeds falling on your plot and germinating, that it is also the perfect home for slugs in particular. And GG Wildlife was saying that even with his slabs and things, he lifts those up and there's slugs and snails underneath there as well. So I think it's just something that when we use cardboard, if we're going to use it as a suppressant, as a weed suppressant, maybe we need to just accept that the slugs will see it as a fantastic habitat to overwinter, because of course it's sheltered and it will be warmer under there and they can lay their eggs and their eggs will grow on. So we need to be wary of that. So maybe if we are using cardboard as a weed suppressant, which I have done for many years, maybe that in itself is going to increase the amount of slugs and snails, particularly slugs, that we're going to see on our plots. Right, let me just get rid of this and put it out the door. We can tidy that up in a minute. Just make sure they're all firmed in. Not solidly, but nice and firm. And as I've said when I've done cuttings before, the reason you do them down a corner is so that there's more likelihood of air getting down there, because you don't want the growing tip where hopefully your roots are going to come from lacking air. And of course the perlite that I've got in there, rather than vermiculite, will allow aeration as well. So yeah, I'm just going to give them a little water, just a splash each. That can then settle in. That was more than a splash. Right, job done for today. I've got some other bits, but we'll just see how those 16 do. I have just checked on the broad beans and we have decent germination across both sets of rows now, which is great. No further ones have been munched down by mice yet. Fingers crossed on that. But yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. My growing year, October to September, as you know, what a start that is. The good thing is the garlic is growing really well and it's going into its dormancy now. I'll most probably be giving that a top dress at the end of January, maybe into February. So yeah, but slugs and snails, the perennial bane of us growers, gardeners and allotmenteers' life. It really is, isn't it? I was watching Steve Seaside Allotment, I think he is, and he was talking about how he deals with slugs and snails. So that's quite an interesting thing to watch. He talks about using strulch quite a bit, particularly on pepper beds and something else, and then he gathers it up and uses it the following year as well, and then top dresses with fresh strulch. I didn't realize that strulch has an added iron mineral on it, sprayed on it or whatever, that deters slugs and snails, but that sort of makes sense to me now. I've never really looked at strulch because it's quite expensive, though I guess if you factor in the amount of time that we are looking after our plants, from sowing them or planting them to harvesting them, maybe that investment in strulch is worthwhile. I certainly know a couple of people have commented on this channel that they use strulch, so maybe I need to look at that. Anyway, yeah, that plant, I think it was Acca, ACAA or ACCAA. I'm not sure, but I do know that it's a nice plant, and as I say, as a little hedge or something, it works really well. So we'll see if any of those decide to grow roots and become little plants, because if they do, that's fantastic. If they don't, all I've done is lost a little bit of rooting powder, a little bit of compost and a little bit of perlite, and the compost and the perlite will be going onto a bed anyway, so nothing ventured, nothing gained, and virtually nothing lost. One lovely delight when I came down here, a big box of potatoes, various different sizes, some smaller, some much larger. So that was an absolute delight to find in our greenhouse, no, in our shed, because we've used all of our potatoes that we grew this year. I was looking at a few varieties that I might think of growing next year, which will likely be in one of our raised beds. And I did add them to the basket, and then I got distracted by something else. So I'll look at potatoes again maybe next week. I've also got here, and I'll show you it next week, a bench which the same people who gave me this put a bench up for free on our local Facebook group, and I said, oh, I'd love that, because sometimes people come into the shed and there isn't really another place for them to sit, so I might put that in there, or I might keep it in here, or it's actually good enough to go home. Anyway, I'll show you that next week. Right, that's it for this week's A Week at the Plot. It's Saturday afternoon now. The sky is pretty bright, but it's beginning to darken now. The clouds are scuddering across the sky. We've had quite a grey day today, but actually the sky now is rather lovely, with, I think, another clear night sky to come, because the clouds are clearing. Anyway, I'll most probably leave you with that because it's a rather lovely sight. If you've got any comments, any questions, any tips, please do leave them down below. And whatever is happening in your garden, your growing space, or your allotment, I hope you are enjoying it and it's not too challenging. If you're planning ahead for your next growing season, let us know what you're thinking of doing. If you're in the middle of your growing season, as many people who may be down under are, let us know how things are going for you. And whatever you've got planned over the Christmas break or the New Year break, I hope that the coming weeks are exactly what you wish them to be. See you very soon. If you celebrate Christmas or other festivities, have a great time. If you're taking some quiet time out whilst other people celebrate, enjoy that. And if you're working, I hope you can get some time out to yourself after these festivities finish. Lovely, lovely sky. See you very soon. Bye.